Well, this is a stat none of us want to hear, but motor vehicle deaths increased 14% since 2014. That's the steepest two-year hike since 1964. Now, if we really want to eliminate these deaths, traffic safety professionals, law enforcement, and legislators need to have a clear understanding of why crashes are happening. Good data is needed to fill in the gaps in knowledge. Unfortunately, though, a new National Safety Council report recently released found that many states are not collecting critical data. President and CEO of the National Safety Council, Deborah Hirschman, is here to tell us how Arizona is doing. And Deborah, before we hit on Arizona specifically, why do you think that drastic increase that I was talking about?
You know, last year we topped 40,000 fatalities in the United States, and that was the largest number that we'd seen in about a decade. And unfortunately, we're trending in the wrong direction. Certainly, an improved economy does contribute to that number because you have more people who are back to work, more people who have disposable income and may be driving. But vehicle miles traveled increased by only 3.5%, while fatalities nationwide increased by 6%.
Well, what do we think is the link between better data and solving the problem?
Well, we know that having better data allows us to make better decisions. So whether it's policymakers, lawmakers, highway safety personnel, law enforcement, we can target our interventions. We can target the priorities if we know not just what's happening, but why it's happening. And so, for example, if we know that states are decriminalizing the use of marijuana, whether it's medicinal or for recreational purposes, we would certainly want to see a field if they are testing positive post-crash, and we're not seeing that across the board. That's one way that Arizona could actually improve, is to make sure we have those fields represented. While nationwide our fatality numbers went up by 14% in the last 2 years, Arizona saw an even steeper increase of 24%. And so these are definitely opportunities for us to collect better data, whether it's distraction, drugs, or drowsy driving even. We're not asking the right questions at the crash scene.
Well, it's good to hear where Arizona can obviously step up our game to get that data to get to a better outcome. But I would also probably say, I know you said a little bit about distracted. Where do we fall in collecting data when it comes to cell phone use? Because I feel like that's probably a big thing.
Yeah. So it is. A lot of people are really attributing some of these increases in fatalities to cell phone use or texting. And Arizona does collect whether or not someone was texting while they were involved in a crash. And so that's a good thing to be able to collect that data. Of the 46 states who have bans, full bans against texting, only 26 are collecting data on whether or not texting was a factor in a crash. But distracted driving is something really hard to pin down because we don't always have the ability for law enforcement who work really hard to gather that information at the roadside. They may be fatalities or serious injuries, and so people can't tell them that they were using their devices. And even when they do survive, they're not likely to turn state's evidence on themselves and tell people that they were doing something wrong. And so very often law enforcement doesn't have the tools that they need. But in Chicago and also in New York State, you've got the authorities are considering legislation that's called the textilizer, and it's like the breathalyzer for alcohol, but for texting. It would give them technology at the roadside to download whether or not somebody was using their phone at the time of the crash.
Wow. Well, this is something we all should be concerned with because it affects everybody. Is there somewhere we can go online to get some more information and ways we can help?
Yes, if you want to see the full report plus tips on how to keep yourself safe, you can visit nsc.org/crash report.
Perfect. Deborah, again, thank you so much for stopping in to talk to us today.
Thank you, and be safe out there.
Don't go anywhere. The Morning Blend, we'll be right back.